Hey, I'm here with Adam Myerson, the days leading up to Twilight. Adam owns Cycle Smart Solutions for Cycling, and additionally races for time pro cycling team. And we're just going to talk with him a little bit about the upcoming Twilight race. Usually Adam is a top 10, top 20 racer at Twilight, and this year he's going to be looking to continue with that trend and maybe even get on the podium. Adam, tell us about the team you're on this year and what your role is as a captain.
Well, it's a position that I've been in on other teams in the past. I'm one of three captains on a team of development riders. There are three of us on the team who are over 30, who have a lot of experience and have been pros for a long time, who are not so much on the team to get results, but to show the younger riders how to get results. And sometimes that will mean leading by example and going out there and getting the job done when we need to get it done. But mostly it revolves around opening doors for the younger riders. So a good example of that is we come into a field sprint situation. I don't have three of the younger riders in front of me leading me out. In fact, I ride my own sprint and I have the three guys or two guys follow me. And that's put us in a situation where we've put two or three guys in the top 10 of a race in a field sprint because we didn't use any guys up to try to get me a win. I just did what I always did and showed those guys how to do it, and that's been working out pretty well for us this year.
So with that in mind, if you showing these guys by example, Twilight tends to be a more aggressive race, more dramatic race. What do you expect your teammates to be able to do, and what do you expect yourself in this race?
It's always tough to know, especially with the potential forecast of rain, how things are going to go. But Twilight is known for being very aggressive race and somewhat unpredictable, and you have to start racing right from the very beginning. Even if you're a field sprinter, if you wait around for the field sprint at Twilight, you'll rarely be racing for the win. So start position is very important, and then getting to the front as quickly as possible is very important. So it's a situation where I can give the guys a lot of advice before the race, but it really is going to be up to them to actually pedal their bikes. I can't pedal their bikes for them, that's for sure. So impressing upon them how important it is to get to the front as quickly as possible and be ahead of any splits that are going to happen in the field. And additionally, if it's raining, it's going to add a whole other layer of difficulty to the race, and we really just have to see what the guys are capable of. And that's another area I think we've done well this year. A lot of times development teams like this can go very badly, where you put a bunch of guys in over their heads and sink or swim, and they all drown. And I think with the crop of guys that Pat Rains and Eric Saunders and Jamie Bennett have put together this year, I've seen lots of swimming. Lots of guys really stepping up their game to match the level of the competition they've been put in. So I hope they can do that at Twilight also.
Well, you say starting spot being crucial for Twilight, or it is crucial for Twilight. Well, this year you're doing the qualifying grids, which you start on the CompuTrainer. They give you a 3K, they say go, whereas traditionally you've been one of the pros called up. So you're going to be back in the trenches, so to speak, with some of your younger riders. Is there anything you can do when you're trying to get to the front to help them get to the front?
Yeah, and that's a situation that I've been in the past before, where at Sea Otter was a good example. It's a very difficult climb every lap on that circuit, and my style to get through a race like that is to sort of sag climb, start the climb at the front, drift back, do the descent, and then work my way back up to the front before the climb again. And when I ride that way, the way I can benefit the team is by getting on the radio and picking guys up along the way. Here guys, I'm moving up the side, I'm on that side, I'm coming through the middle, and the guys all latch onto my wheel as I ride to the front. So it's a way to take someone like me, who's traditionally been a rider who has a strong set of survival skills or a lot of craft that goes into my racing, and I've had to look after myself a lot, to show those guys how I get that done, teach them how to do it themselves, but let them benefit from it. So if I'm at the back, or I don't have a great start position because we've given that front row call up to one of the younger guys on the team, I'm hoping that the other guys can latch on and sort of again learn by following my example as I bring everybody back up to the front.
Gotcha. So how do you feel about your fitness for Twilight? You're out in California racing. So has that been a good build up or a mediocre build up for this important weekend?
Yeah, I think I'm right on track, and it's been tough because I had a great January and February here in Athens, Georgia for the winter. I got more training done in those 2 months than I ever have in my career, and my fitness was really good. And then we went out to California for almost 6 weeks to do the San Dimas stage race at Redlands, Garrett Lemire, and Ojai. And the goal there was to be fit enough to complete those races, get through them, use them for training, without a lot of pressure for results. At the same time, I put a lot of pressure on myself to get results. Even if I'm not at my fittest, I usually can always sprint. So California was tough. We had a lot of bad luck, 2 crashes, broken bikes, had difficult, just the stress of being on the road starting to take its toll. So I was a little nervous coming back from California that my form wasn't exactly where I had hoped it would be at the end of that trip. But the training that I've done this week and leading up to Twilight is sort of sending me the signals that I might just be getting it together, just at the right time. My numbers, my power numbers are high in sort of every area that they need to be. And now we'll just have to see what happens on Twilight, but on Saturday at Twilight. But I'm with Tour Georgia going on at the same time, and knowing that that sometimes makes Twilight a slightly easier race because not all of the strongest riders in the country will be there, but all of the strong field sprinters will be. All the criterium specialists will be there, and that means winning Twilight will be just as difficult as it always has been, but perhaps a little more suited to someone with my skill set.
I got you. Well, you're a racer. You've been a racer for almost longer than some of the kids on your team. You've been running the coaching business for a long time. So when you combine your knowledge as a coach, your knowledge as a long-time racer, what's the 1 or 2 things that you can draw from these years of experience to increase your personal result? And drawing from this experience, if you're going to talk to like a young kid like this doing the race, like a David Duncan that's on your team, or a young kid like Mike Stoop, what's the one thing you would tell them to increase their result?
I think one of the biggest things, there's a specific approach that I'm trying to teach these guys in a general one also, and I think in this case specifically is teaching them how to do less in races. It's important to go out there and be aggressive, and these kids don't have a lot of pressure to get results. What Eric wants from these guys is for them to go out and participate in the races and become stronger, become better bike racers. It's a great opportunity for them because they could be on another team where they could be under a lot of pressure to get good results all the time. But all the guys in this team have a 2-year window here, and so they can use this year to be really aggressive in the races and attack more and take chances, and it's okay if they don't finish, kind of thing. At the same time, we want to see them get results. We want them to be successful, and some of these guys are already there and already at the point where they can learn how to take what they have and turn it into a result. So teaching them when to go hard and when not to go hard, when to pedal, little things like energy conservation, like when to be going with moves, whether to leave gaps going into a turn so you can take a couple less pedal strokes and carry your speed through a turn, and how, in a race like Twilight with 4 corners a lap and how 60 some odd laps that we do, every pedal stroke you can save adds up. Teaching them how to drive their bikes better, to use less energy. That puts them in a position to be more competitive when the crunch time comes, in the last, say, third of the race. Twilight's a little different because I think, the move typically goes in the first third of the race, and so they do need to come out swinging. But just economy, efficiency, teaching them how to be skillful in the races as well as just strong. That's the thing that I've really been focusing on with these guys, that it's hard to explain. You need to really do it. You need to learn by doing, and that's what we've been doing in the races.
Well, before we check out here, do you have any predictions for this weekend?
Well, I think it depends on if it rains or not. I'm always looking for a top 10, but I'm also looking for a top 10 for some of my guys. I think a guy like David Gutenplan, he's been riding very strong, and a race like Twilight with a hill and difficult turns suits a light sprinter like he is. He's not a rip-roaring field sprinter. He's not a big guy, but he's very explosive, and so he's good at jumping out of turns, especially if there's a hill in the course. So from the time team, a rider like him or Mike Stoop has been very, very strong, and I think if Mike gets himself into a breakaway, I believe he's won 7 out of the 10 races he's done this year already, so he's shown that he's ready to step it up and race at a high level. From the other teams, I think you got to look at the teams that didn't get into Tour Georgia who are sending their A squads here. I think Colavita is going to be very difficult to beat with Barajo and Kyle Walmsley. Aerospace or Toshiba will be very motivated since this is their hometown race, and they also were left out of Tour Georgia. So I think we can look at those two teams to really be setting the pace, so to speak, at the race.
Sounds good. Well, thanks for stopping by, and good luck this weekend.